Welcome back to the Cheater's Guide to FNaF World. Next up for player attacks, we have the Black category. The Black category is essentially the insta-kill category. All black moves have a chance to one-shot enemies, though this is dependent on either the enemy's HP or RNG. Some work on bosses and some don't, but even those that do behave differently in boss fights. They can also all be mimicked. How they work is very straightforward, and since there are only 4 of them, this episode shouldn't take very long to get through. First is Waterhose, used by Toy Chica, Shadow Freddy, and Nightmare Chica. Its description reads, kills all enemies under 30% health. It does exactly that, immediately killing all standard enemies under a third of their health. If the enemies are above the threshold, Waterhose will do nothing but disrupt your visual for a bit. In addition, it does not work on bosses, so throwing it against a boss will also do nothing. Waterhose is mostly useful in the early game, where you can throw a few attacks and then finish off your opponents in one fell swoop. However, since standard enemies have no health bars, it can be difficult to know if they've taken enough damage to be insta-killed yet. Later in the game, there's less point in using Waterhose since you have access to much stronger attacks, but it can still be useful if you've been struggling through a fight but have done enough damage that you can use Waterhose to end it more quickly. Waterhose 2 behaves pretty much the same. Used exclusively by Endoplush, though it can also be summoned by Prizeball 2, its description reads, kills all enemies under 50% health. And that is exactly what it does. Like Waterhose, any enemy above half its health will not be affected, and it doesn't work on bosses. Its animation is more disruptive, too. Waterhose 2 is more practical than Waterhose as you progress. Though you still have the same issue of not knowing exactly how much health your opponents have, you can estimate when Waterhose 2 will work earlier, and if you guess correctly, you can effectively cut the battle in half. If you find yourself in a tough spot later in the game, but have fought long enough to have done a decent amount of damage, Waterhose 2 can save your life in this regard. Next we have Unscrew, used by JJ, Phantom Chica, Phantom Foxy, and Shadow Freddy. Its description reads, 30% chance to kill one enemy. Unlike Waterhose, Unscrew relies on RNG. It has a 1 in 3 chance to insta-kill one standard enemy each time it's used, and a 1 in 60 chance to insta-kill a boss. While not the most practical attack to be using in boss fights, if you get lucky, you can immediately defeat even a more advanced boss with a severely underleveled party. It's far more practical to be used in standard encounters, where you can remove enemies one by one just by throwing Unscrew a sufficient number of times. Unscrew 2 is essentially the same, just with a higher likelihood of success. It's used by Withered Bonnie and Nightmare Foxy, and its description reads, 50% chance to kill one enemy. It has a 1 out of 2 chance of succeeding on standard enemies, and a 1 in 50 chance of succeeding on bosses. The odds are better for bosses, but it's still not a recommended move for boss fights unless you're desperate or are trying to get through the game with a weaker party. For standard enemies, you can basically mow them down one at a time, especially if you have a mimic ball copying the move every time you throw it. And that's all of them. As usual, let me know what color you think I should cover next.